Okay, welcome to our student-led internship fair. I'm very excited to hear from the students today. I'm not even gonna say really anything right now because I want to jump into hearing from the students and hear them talk about their own experiences. So first up, we have Anthony and Olivia who are going to talk with us about their experience at St. Anne's Home.
Okay, so me and Olivia are doing our placement at St. Anne's Home, which is in Methuen.
So the environment, as Anthony said, it is in Methuen. It's kind of like a campus setting where it's a multitude of buildings put together, and it's residential, and they also have a school aspect to it as well. So their mission from their website is that since 1925, the mission of St. Anne's Home and School has been to support, nurture, rehabilitate, educate, and advocate for children, adolescents, and young adults who are faced with serious emotional, behavioral, and so sorry, I just got a call and it like shifted my screen. Okay. Behavioral and mental health challenges and learning disabilities by providing state-of-the-art, high quality. Okay. So sorry, I'm getting another call. State-of-the-art, high quality programming and services in collaboration with these children, their families, and other community and state agencies and resources. St. Anne's assists them in overcoming their disabilities in the least restrictive setting.
So as Olivia said, the population, it is a home and school. It's a 24-hour therapeutic environment for youth requiring intensive therapeutic services. It's a school program too, like um, kids on my unit, at least, some of them go to school in public schools, some of them go to school on the campus. All of them, it's children and adolescents, usually between like 5 and around 17 or 18 years old, with emotional, behavioral, and social academic issues. Um, there's also individual therapy for children, adolescents, and young adults, and parents, caregivers, and guardians are also involved in the therapy process.
So the staff, there's a variety of staff members on site, such as nurses, teachers, and therapists. The most common staff members are those who work directly in the units, such as childcare providers who aid children in performing individual routines successfully and safely and record daily reports for each child. So the role of an intern would be that staff member, specifically the childcare provider.
So the intern starts, they're hired, it's usually like smaller like hours, roughly like 20 hours a week. And
Yeah.
you become like a full-time staff. You're treated as a staff once you go through like training, which is roughly like a month, no more than 2 months usually.
Mhm.
And like for me, my unit director is Kirsten, Olivia's is Katie, and usually they oversee the unit. They schedule the staff every week, and every day the staff performs like logs on each child, which is like how did they do going to school? How did they wake up? Were they settled, going to bed? Kind of stuff like that. And then that's submitted to the building supervisors by the end of the day.
So for challenges with any internships, it has challenges and it also has positives. So students looking to intern should be prepared in advance with a multitude of available days for flexibility in order to accommodate the 20-hour work weeks. So as an intern there, you will be working, it's like roughly 20 hours, a little bit less, a little bit more, it all depends, but they like to keep it around that time frame. And students should also be prepared to hear intense topics when it comes to a child's background and be ready for the behaviors that may occur in effect. A lot of these kids have been through serious trauma, and it's important that you are informed of their background and their past and what they've been through. And because of some of the things that they've been through, they do have behaviors that are not of the norm, and you just have to be ready and understanding of those behaviors.
Yes, and because of the like behaviors that they go through, the organization does provide a lot of strict guidelines. Like for instance, it's probably a standard on all units, but my unit specifically, you have to ask every time you want to stand up to leave the room it has to be a certain ratio to staff to kids. And some kids are on different levels. So like Insight is like 1-to-1. Some are standard, which is like three kids to one staff member. And it does take a lot to like for an intern to come into, but you get used to it the more you're there. You get used to just like recognizing where all the kids are and what has to be done, basically.
Yeah, it's even like if a kid is going to leave and to go into one of the different rooms, you have to remember to call out. It is very rigid, but it's for like the safety of you and it's for the safety of the child. So you just have to understand it. That's basically it. But the positives are that it's an extremely hands-on experience where children and staff create a welcoming environment. It's a rewarding experience to not only see but help the children work towards their behavioral goals, and it's inspiring to see their positivity despite all that they've been through.
Yeah, for me, I've come on and all the staff supervisors, they're very friendly. They've welcomed me right into like basically their own little community. All the children, like every time I go in, they're excited to see me. It's just building those relationships is really important. And that's one of the bigger positives for St. Anne's.
Yeah, it's like you walk in and they'll like call out your name when they see you and they're excited to see you. And you're just reminded that like just being there is making a difference on them. So from my experience, I chose this placement because I thoroughly enjoyed the heart behind St. Anne's mission. And I believe that my time as an intern would be able to make a positive difference on the lives of others.
Me, I chose this because it's a great opportunity in the psych field to work with and engage with children struggling with various challenges. There's a lot of friendly staff, welcoming people, and it makes me feel like I'm at a second home. For me, I'm a commuter. It's very close by to my house and to Merrimack. And it comes with benefit as a paycheck too. You do get paid. It's a paid intern, so you can learn about all the experiences about the psych fields while getting paid as well. And that's it.
Great. Thank you both so much. Okay. All right, up next we have Hannah.
All right. Can you see my slideshow?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. So I am doing my internship at PSL Services Strive. Oh, sorry, my video isn't on, my bad. Let me turn that. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm doing it at a place called Strive. It's at 28 Foden Road in South Portland, Maine. Oh no. Okay, there we go. So the mission statement of Strive is to provide people with intellectual and developmental disabilities or mental health diagnosis a community of support and assistance in finding greater independence. And they do this by respecting the value of each individual, initiating mutually beneficial, sustainable partnerships with businesses and community leaders, and creating innovative opportunities responsive to the evolving needs of individuals and families. And then their values are to treat everyone with dignity and respect, to understand the unique abilities of the participants, employees, and partners, and to create a fun and professional environment while recognizing the magnitude of what they do. And so here's just a little bit about Strive. So Strive stands for socialization, transition, reflection, innovation, vocation, and education. And so it's a nonprofit organization. It was founded in 1999 with the goal to provide recreational and social opportunities with a focus on creating peer support for people with intellectual disabilities. And it's based in South Portland, Maine. And it assists and supports tweens, teens, and young adults with intellectual disabilities through social, recreational, vocational, educational, and post-secondary programs. And so here's just a little bit about what Strive offers. So they offer over 10 different social, educational, post-secondary, and employment programs. these programs include something called Strive Night, Tweens, Strive's Wednesday night educational series, and the list goes on and on. So the goal of each program is to provide opportunity and independence. And these programs, they're at the PSL Services Strive Center, and they're taught by community members or PSL Services Strive staff. And so here's just a little bit about the roles of staff members. It really differs depending on which program you're working in. But most staff are direct support professionals. So they are there to support each participant with their goals. And then there's program supervisors, and they just make sure that the programs are running smoothly and they come up with new ideas for programs. And my personal supervisor, she is the director of the Tweens program, the Strive Night program, and camp programs. And so she basically just like makes plans for each week. And so my role as an intern, I work right now at the Tweens program, the Strive Night program, and the Strive University program. So during Tweens, that's just every night. I basically make arts and crafts with the participants, and I just make sure they have a good time. It's just for 2 hours, and it's for ages like 11 to 16, I believe. And then Strive Night is directly after that. So every Friday, like Tweens, but my role is typically different. I could be in charge of the music for karaoke. I could be walking around to make sure, like making sure everyone is getting along. Or I could be leading the conversation for people who attend it online over Zoom. Or just I could also be in charge of making sure that we're providing pizza, like, and making sure we're making it right and everything. And then I also work at Strive University, and I do that on Saturdays. And so every morning I go in at 8 a.m. on Saturday, and I do morning check-ins with all of the students, and then I go through usually I'm in charge of at least 4 goals with participants, and that could either be like a meal prep goal, like I support them make a meal, or I just make sure that they're ready for their week, an organization goal. And so why I chose Strive, I actually worked there over the summer because I'm from Maine, so that's where I worked over the summer, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I want to work there after I graduate. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to get some more experience there. And then challenges you might face if you choose to intern at Strive. Obviously the distance is the first major challenge. It's an hour and a half away from Merrimack. So the travel is pretty tiring, and it can be a lot. And then it can also be uncomfortable working with our participants sometimes, especially if you don't have much experience. So it is really important to have like proper training on how to handle uncomfortable situations that will most likely occur. And then what I like about my internship so far, I just really love the atmosphere of Strive. Everyone is always so welcoming and kind. And I love the relationships I'm building with the participants. I had only worked there over the summer, so I only was able to meet only a certain amount of participants. So it's really nice to be able to meet a lot more. They're just really fun to be around. And I really love the fact that I'm helping people build their independence. And that is all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna. Okay, and next up we have Haley and Emma, and they're going to tell us about Andover Youth Services.
Okay, so we're doing the Andover Youth Center, or the Cormier Youth Center. It's located in Andover on Whittier Court Street.
Looks like you're Still loading.
Can you see it?
See it yet? No.
Oh, my screen sharing's paused. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that. Resume. Okay. 1 second. Can you see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So we did ours. It's in Andover, on Whittier Court Street, right near the senior center. 1 second. So the mission statement is they provide young people experiences to promote like growth and development. They want to build a network of affordable, accessible, safe, and challenging youth programs that appeal and respond to the diverse interests of kids from middle school to early high school. They've been around for about 26 years now, but recently they've been taken over by like all new staff. But yeah.
So, a little bit about the population. We work with mostly middle schoolers, so it's grade 6 through 8, and it's like an after school program. So it's from when school ends around like 2:45, 3, and then till like 6. And then they're doing a high school program for grades 9 through 12, which are from 6 to 8 p.m. But we mostly just focus with middle schoolers because there isn't as many high schoolers that they need our help with. And they do have scholarship kids. So if you're from a home that doesn't have a lot of money or they can't afford it, you can apply for the scholarship and you can come to this program.
So some of the staff that they have, so Emma and I are the only two interns there, but they do have mentors, which is like freshmen in high school. But the primary staff people there are Anthony or Tony. He's like our director. He runs the whole program. And then there's Devin. She's the program coordinator. She's not really there often when we're there, so we don't really interact with her that much. We primarily interact with Tony, Serena, and Hayato. Serena is the person that you would be in contact with if you wanted to do your internship there. So she's the outreach coordinator. She coordinates like when you come in, all that stuff. Hayato is the assistant director, so he's right below Tony. So if Tony's not there, you kind of deal with him. Jed and Dowie they run the programs and they're usually the most hands-on with the kids. They're always like playing with them or doing activities. But those are the primary staff. Like I said, we're the only two interns at the moment, but they're always looking for more. They've even asked us to work at their summer camp over the summer. But other than that, that's it.
So you can do like many roles as an intern. Most of it's all like hands-on with like the kids. So you can play basketball with them, you can do arts and crafts with them, any of that kind of stuff. They have a weight room there, they have a gym, they have a theater, they have a full kitchen, they have an art room. So you can lead any activities, classes that if you're interested in, if you're into music, they have a bunch of instruments that they play. So it's really all up to you what you want to do with it. So we lead a few classes. There's a snack shack that you can be in charge of as well. They also have like dances and other activities later on, like on the weekends or night, that also are a big thing. Like they just had like a Valentine's Day dance. And so they're always looking for help at those. You're kind of just watching over the kids to make sure nothing's happening crazy or there's no fights or anything, just keeping the peace between them. A good amount of them do homework, so you might get asked a couple homework questions or to look over a paper or something like that. And you can, while at this program, you can be assigned a class that you can go to. So like there's a cosmetology class, there's a computer class, there's a workout class. So just making sure each kids are in the specific class that their parents paid and signed up for.
I chose this internship because of the community. So like I've never worked with this age group before, but obviously I want to work with kids in my career. So I feel like it's important to have like a different experience with all age groups. Also this is like the population I want to have a career in. A lot of these kids come from foster care or low income families, or they come from very wealthy families, but their parents aren't typically around a lot because of their jobs. Their mission statement, they do a lot of work for these kids, so like they kind of are really influential in their lives. There's a lot of diversity here, so you're not always dealing with like the same type of kids each time. There's multiple different kids you can encounter. When I was younger, I went to like a youth center after school thing, and I think it really benefited me. So it's nice to see it benefiting them. Their morals, like I said, they have been taken over by a whole new staff, so their morals are much better and just more like appropriate for the kids that they're working with. And it's local to Merrimack. It's like a 5-minute drive right down the street. And I work at the Stevens Center on campus, and we already have kids that go to like the senior center. So it's kind of, they're in the same area.
Some challenges that I faced are the age group. I think middle school is a tough age group for multiple reasons, but it seems to start like the clickiness of groups and socials and that kind of thing. So I think that was one thing I never worked with. I've babysat and I've nannied before, but they've all been like little kids from in like preschool, elementary school. So that was a little hard to figure out, how am I supposed to like talk to them? Am I supposed to talk to them like they're little kids or like they're my age? So that kind of figuring that out. The lack of discipline at the center, it's kind of like a free for all, like you can do run, play in the gym, whatever. And there tends to be like obviously like altercations. So the fact is like I was a little unsure like if I should step in, if I should like let it play out. Like I said, middle schoolers or some, especially the boys, are immature. So having to deal with that and trying to figure out how to correct it and what to say to them. And some challenges the kids face. Like I said, it's in Andover, so it's a very different town from, you can be really wealthy, or you could be struggling. Your parents could be struggling to make money. So there's foster kids. Sometimes if the parents work, they're never really around. Some of them do come from bad home situations. So sometimes they talk about it, and just being able to say what, like not judge them. There is some bullying, so knowing to step in and how to address the situations. And like I said earlier, the scholarship versus not scholarship, there is a big difference between the economic status. So trying to figure that out as well.
So this is just like what I liked about it so far. You build a lot of connections with the kids. They like start to trust you and confide in you. We had one girl that she loved being around us, but unfortunately she's not at the center anymore. She's one of she had like an outburst, and so that was kind of something they had to discipline. So you build connections with these kids, and like obviously you want to be able to have them there the whole time, but sometimes they're not. They do things and then they result in being suspended from the center. We get to teach classes. We got to teach like the cosmetology class. We get to run the snack shack. Just like ways to bond with the kids, because when you're running snack shack, they obviously want to do it with you. We make sure kids are checking in and out. They have a little computer. They're supposed to write down what time they enter the building, what time they leave the building. They always tell us about like their problems they have, or like if they have problems with their friends, they always confide in us and ask us for advice. You're also building professional relationships with the staff. Like I said earlier, they had asked us to work at their summer camp, so they wanted to keep us around, but unfortunately, we both live a bit too far to do that. We're also a trusted intern, so like we have lanyards that we wear, which swipe into parts of the building that the kids can't just get into. So you're very trusted. You're trusted with the kids, all the information, and mostly just the experience with the new age group. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes, but it's also like a really nice experience. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you both very much. Okay. And last but not least, we've got Helen.
Hi. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
So my name's Helen and I am currently a senior, so I will be graduating in May. I'm doing my internship at the Arlington Middle School in Lawrence, Massachusetts. So their mission statement is, at Arlington Middle School, our students are consistently engaged in thoughtful and rigorous tasks. Our school is a safe place where students, staff, and families are valued and respected. Work hard and be nice.
Oh, Helen, it looks like it's still loading on our end for some reason.
Oh, that's weird.
I wonder if it was the
like-
same. Oh, there it is.
It's like,
So I
okay, that was weird.
like that. I don't know if that's the issue. If you leave it as the like the preview screen, we might be able to see it. I think that might have been
Alright.
deleted. Then that seemed to work.
Okay, that's weird. All right, sorry.
That's okay.
Let me figure out what I'm doing because I'm not good at technology. So, okay,
There we go.
can
If
you see it now?
you leave it there, I can see it. So that's perfect.
All right, that's so weird, but okay. All right, so the population the school serves is 5th to 8th graders who attend the school and live in Lawrence. So these are just some current statistics of who it serves. Serves a lot of like first language, not English students, students with disabilities, high needs, or low income, and then on the other side is just discussing like race. Of the majority of the students who attend are Hispanic. So the staff's end goal is to help students progress in their academics as well as be aware of their mental health, tailoring to their needs. There are 70 staff members in total, including interns. They consist of teachers, principal, vice principal, guidance counselors, clerks, safety officers, and a parent liaison. So my supervisor is Angeline Peña. Her short bio is that my supervisor, she was born and raised in the city of Lawrence, where she now also works. She is the 8th grade adjustment counselor at the Arlington Middle School. She received her master's in education and health counseling with 2 certificates in trauma studies and substance abuse from Cambridge College in 2017. So my role as the intern there is I basically just observe a lot of like what goes on, how they interact with students and parents. I also sit in for like things like lunches, which is just basically where like students who can't be in regular lunch go just to hang out, where it's like less noisy. They do fun things sometimes. And their weekly meetings to check in on how they're doing with their mental health, if they need any breaks during the week and stuff like that. So why did I choose this internship? I need to learn a lot more about patience. Sometimes I have more patience with students than I do with adults, so it's easier for me to interact with them. I like understanding where other people come from, what they're struggling with. So I think middle school is a weird age when you're developing, so it's really important to like understand how you're developing and helping out with that. Another thing is growth. You grow when you learn alongside other people, of course, and then just for the experience, it's like different. So learning all of that. Some challenges that I've faced this far is interacting with students, communicating with parents, and gaining trust. They all kind of go hand in hand. So in order to interact with students, they have to trust you, and for them to like share certain things with you, they have to trust you. So that takes like a lot of time. Communicating with parents. Sometimes parents, especially like of Hispanic backgrounds, are very, very stubborn in their beliefs and they don't like to believe in mental health. So it's like really hard to have them understand that their child needs like this certain care. So yeah, it's really hard. That's hard. And then what I like so far is that I like working with the children. They're a different like age group than what I'm used to. I like working with elementary and younger kids because they really don't know what they're doing. But have enjoyed working with middle schoolers. I'm learning a lot, so I learned how to do like risk assessments, how to interact with students, how to avoid certain words. I'm just gaining overall experience just in case I need it. It's a safe environment and the staff are very, very friendly. So I would like to mention that I was offered a job here. It's not exactly like my career plan, so I want to be a police officer, but it was pretty nice that they still offered me a job. So if you're looking for guidance counseling, and you want to internship here, you can.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, well now I am going to ask some questions of our group now that we've heard from them in regards to their experiences. I'm excited to kind of ask them a little bit more about what their process was. So Haley, I think you're up first. I'm curious to hear from you about your process for getting an internship.
I feel like I started my process at the beginning of this year. My goal was to take this class over the summer, but I ended up just taking it this semester because I'm graduating a semester early, so I figured I'd rather just take it and get it out of the way. So I had an internship lined up, but they eventually wanted me to work there in the summer instead. So I kind of was like back to square one with no internship. So then over winter break, Catherine sent us like emails with a bunch of places. So I redid like my whole resume. I think her name is Stephanie. I redid my resume with Stephanie. And so over winter break, I just looked up all the sites that were on like the email or whatever. And I picked ones that I thought would like really work for me, especially because I want to work with kids. So I emailed a couple. I heard back from all of them. Some of them didn't work out because of my availability. And then some of them, the process would just kind of take too long to like get started. So then I narrowed it down to Andover Youth Services. And I've heard of this place before. I have some people that have gone there as children from Andover. But I would say it's pretty easy if you're just like willing to put in the effort. I just emailed my resume. I typed out like a nice email, like, here's my availability. This is what I'm comfortable with. And a lot of people responded well. You just kind of have to be professional about it, but it was pretty easy for me personally.
Great. Well, I think that you said it too. You did it professionally, and as long as you keep up with it and are persistent, it's easy, right? Because you consistently reach out to people. So if you're on top of it, it definitely makes it a lot easier. So that's great. Thank you. Okay. So I'm gonna ask Anthony and Emma about the challenges, the most challenging part about finding an internship.
So for me, at least, it was easy to find my internship. I reached out to St. Anne's like a couple of weeks when I found out I needed to. They got back to me within a few days, actually. And I reached out to a bunch of other places too, and they got back to me pretty quickly. But what was challenging was picking one because I actually went to other sites, like I visited, and they like gave me an interview, like told me about the places. So then I had all these places. I think it was two or three I visited, and then I just had to pick one between them. So that was the challenging part for me. Um, weighing my options and deciding what I needed to do. And I chose St. Anne's.
That's the best challenge to have. That's the challenge I want students to have, is that you have more options than you need, and then it's hard to pick. What was it that ultimately pushed you towards St. Anne's sort of over some of the other sites?
Mostly because I like the people there. They were like real, like everyone was friendly, but like St. Anne's, like the person that did the recruiting, Kathy, she was very nice, very eager. She kept reaching out to me, like constantly kept sending me information. She was just more, I guess, on top of it than the other sites. So it just really pulled me in
Yeah,
from the other places.
that's great. And that's good to hear too. I think that you get a lot and you get a sense of the place based on meeting them and talking with them too. So having that opportunity is important. Great. What about for you, Emma?
Mine was a little bit different. I struggled to have people reply to me. So I sent a bunch of emails to a bunch of different people, and they either never replied to me or they replied to me like a month later. And so I just couldn't wait a month to hear back from people. So like I started emailing, like I would recommend emailing very early on because a lot of people either just don't reply or they take a while to reply or they're like unsure of if they're taking interns. So kind of that process was hard. And like I would send follow-up emails and nobody would like reply, I guess. So I think that was my biggest challenge. Or if they did, like I already like committed to the Andover Youth Services. And then I got another email saying like they would love to have me kind of thing. So it was like I already committed to one because they emailed me back right away and they made me feel like I was wanted rather than just getting an email like a month later kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other side of it, the challenge that a lot of students face is how long it can take sometimes and how many people you have to reach out to hear back from people. So it's important what you said too is, reaching out early and to a lot of people in the follow-up is important because sometimes you might not hear back. But the nice thing is you had a site all set, so you didn't have to worry about it. But it is too bad because it does make it frustrating and it makes it a big challenge. But
And
you
I also found that like I was emailing a bunch of people like at the end of last semester, early this semester, and with like the holidays and stuff, it was around like Thanksgiving to Christmas to the New Year. So a lot of people were like away from the office. So I also think that played a role in it as well.
Absolutely. Timing is everything. So that's a good thing to think about too, is how you're timing when you're reaching out is really important. All right, thank you. So next, I'm gonna ask, let's see, we've got Haley. I'm spotlighting people. And Helen too, because her question is up next and in a kind of the same theme. But first for Haley, have you found yourself making connections between things you've learned in the classroom and what you're seeing at your internship site?
Um, I think yes. This internship, I don't know. I think I've seen a lot more maybe because they're older. I've worked with like younger kids primarily mostly, so working with the middle schoolers, I've definitely had to learn about like being like professional and like working on boundaries with them, especially like appropriate boundaries. Um, I think at the beginning of the year, at the semester in this class, we read an article about like um being professional in the workplace and like what is professional and what is not. So my first couple of weeks, I definitely struggled with trying to find a line of being, oh, they're walking all over me, to being I'm like more in charge than they are. So I kind of have to let them know that. A lot of these kids have no idea what boundaries are. They will not like respect your boundaries unless you're very firm with them. We at the beginning of the year, we had a lot of like inappropriateness and asking for personal like phone numbers and making comments, and it's it's kind of our fault. We weren't really firm with them, but also this is like not something we've ever dealt with before. So you definitely have to be firm about your boundaries and be like, I want to be your friend, but I am in charge. So these are not okay things to do. And also just like navigating like how to appropriately like go about certain situations. Like obviously they know right from wrong, but they're just pushing your limits. So definitely I've learned a lot about being professional and having professional boundaries and not letting them like kind of walk all over me and take advantage of me.
That's huge too, because that's really hard to learn and build. So I think it's important that you're doing that now because you'll bring that with you kind of in whatever job you do next. So that's great. Thank you. And for Helen, do you feel like your internship enhances your classroom experience and then what you're learning in the classroom? So sort of the flip, like you're sitting in the classroom and you connect it to things that you're doing or seeing at your internship.
I believe it does so far. Like I've taken two separate internships, one for criminal justice and one for psychology, and both internships have helped me within the classroom. They both have correlations, so it like honestly depends what you're studying and what you want to go for. But for example, in psychology, last semester I took abnormal psych, so we're learning about like certain mental illnesses, and this semester I'm at my internship, and so like I've seen some mental illnesses that were previously mentioned in that class happening within like the population that we're serving. So does, and it like expands your knowledge and you have more hands-on experience with a lot of the things that you're learning, which I think is very important.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting because then you're really seeing it firsthand. It's different than when you're reading about it or talking about it in the classroom. You're seeing it right in front of you, which makes a difference. Great. Thank you. Okay. Next up, I'm going to ask Olivia. Can you tell us some advice that you would give to other students who are thinking about or planning on doing an internship?
So kind of like what Emma had said earlier, definitely get it done early. That's what I would do because for St. Anne's, I hadn't realized until I was partway through the process of already accepting that there was like a specific day that they had needed me to be available. So I had actually switched around some of my classes for them because it just seemed like such a great place to go. And so if I had known that a little bit earlier and if I had applied a little bit earlier, it definitely would have been less stressful. But overall, it all worked out. But I would definitely just say try to get it done as early as possible. And definitely don't underestimate yourself. When I had it was like the first few days that I was at St. Anne's, I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Like, it was like I was looking forward to it, but I was a little worried that I wasn't going to be able to do the position properly. But over time, it's like you really start to understand what's expected of you in your position and just how to go about it properly. It's a learning process for everyone, and you just have to know everyone started at the same place as you. Like you're not going to be great on day one. It's a learning curve, and that's what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's all really important. I think starting early and also the scheduling piece, because that's key to just have room in your schedule and know that you can fit it in. And then I'm glad you said that too, because I think that people get nervous and like, what am I doing? What did I get myself into? I can't do this. But you just have to stick with it because everybody feels that at the start of something new. And so I imagine thinking back at the beginning of the semester when you're all at the end, you'll feel very different about it, which will be nice to talk about and kind of reflect on. Thank you. Okay, and Hannah, can you share with us what are you hoping to gain from this experience? You've been there for a little bit now. You've still got till the end of the semester, but what are you hoping you're gaining from it or you will gain from it?
Yeah, so like I had mentioned in my presentation, I had worked there already over the summer, and I just really wanted to just gain more experience in this workplace because I do plan on working there once I graduate, which will be in May. I am a senior. And so I had only worked with like a specific group of younger kids at Strive over the summer. So working at this internship, I've been working with a bunch of different people that I hadn't worked with before. So over the summer, I worked with, it was around like ages 11 to 21. And it was like the same group of kids usually for the whole entire summer. But now I'm working with three different groups. One group is 11 to 16, the other is 16 to 25, and then the other is like college student age. So they're 18 to like 25 as well. So like it's been really awesome. I've been able to gain like a lot more experience just with different groups and different programs. So what I really had hoped originally was just to gain like a lot more experience with the different age groups and the different programs. And I feel like I've been able to do that really well so far. I like have a way better understanding of all the different programs. And I have way better relationships with a bunch of different participants now. So it's really awesome. And I'm looking forward to keep on building those relationships. And then also it'll be really interesting to see like where I'll be placed once I graduate, since I've had so much experience with a bunch of different programs. So like it'll be really cool to see where they think I'll be best fit once I graduate.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Do you have any that you would hope for? Is there a spot that you really like a lot?
I mean, the programs, they're all very different. It's definitely more working at Strive University. And it's a lot more pressure as well because the students there, it's just a 2-year program. So, and there's just 12 students. But by the time they graduate, the staff, like through the 2 years, you are trying to help them gain all the independence they can as much as possible so they can live on their own once they graduate. So it's like it is a lot of pressure and it's a lot of work, but like it is really awesome working there and like seeing you like make a difference in these people's lives. I don't have a preference really. It's really awesome that actually Strive, they have a program for staff members to get your social work license in 2 years if you work there. So I'm hoping to do that, and then maybe I could be like a case manager at Strive because they have those positions there. So really we'll see where they put me, and then hopefully I can start the social work license program and then maybe be a case manager there.
That's great. Well, that sounds like a really good goal too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, thank you. Okay. And then one last question for Helen. Has this experience helped you define better what you want to do in the future?
Hi. I feel like it certainly has. So I've always known that I wanted to, in my future, incorporate mental health awareness and helping others. So I've decided to become a police officer. And with that being said, I feel like this internship has really helped me gain perspective on people from different communities that aren't just like Merrimack and North Andover and stuff and the surrounding cities. So I've realized that policing needs a lot of help with developing programs that help police officers interact in the proper way with the individuals who have mental illnesses. So I want to create like a change that incorporates that within like whatever department I end up working with.
That's great. Thank you. I think it's really cool too, because I think that it furthered your knowledge, but it also shows you the need, and it shows, especially working with kids, they need people in positions of authority, like police officers that they can trust. And if you were that face, that would be so great for them, to have someone that they felt like they could trust and connect to. So that's pretty cool. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much. This was great. I love hearing about everyone's experiences. You're all doing really, really amazing things. So I appreciate you sharing it all with us today.